Hi, oh my gosh, welcome back. It's been a bit, like a couple months. But, anyways, I had surgery. I can finally sit, and I've told myself that once I can sit, I will finally record a freaking YouTube video. So, that's what I'm here to do. Today, we're going to be going over some of my favorite things that I've consumed and just like watched, read in 2025 so far. Definitely been more reading heavy recently, which has been really nice, and I thought I would share them. So to start, we're gonna get into music. I find myself like this year having a hard time listening to music, and I don't know if anyone else is. I think it's just like I get overwhelmed by music, and I find also like I'm not very great at keeping up with contemporary musicians. Honestly, I never have been. Like, even when I was little, I was into older music, just because of like my parents. But I've really been enjoying like more old school funk, adjacent to disco music lately. It's just like easy to listen to for me, and like I find myself in a better mood when I'm listening to it. And yeah, there's also a couple CDs, but the main thing I think I've been listening to on repeat this summer especially has been Al Green. Old Time Loving, such a good song. That whole album is kind of a masterpiece in my mind. Like there's maybe one skip, I'm forgetting the skip on it, but every song is just so fun, and like I just find myself going back to it constantly. It's a great driving song, or great driving album. So yeah, one of my favorites. I've also been listening to a lot of Sade, just like her greatest hits album that's on Spotify. I think it's been also fun to like, I have these songs liked, and then I like have like more contemporary music liked in my Spotify. So also fuck Spotify. I hate that app. I am so frustrated by it, and I really want to get off of it. Not to go on a tangent, but it is really frustrating to be like kind of complacent in like an AI and an AI driven platform, like, or just like I hate AI. That is going to be a theme of this video. That's honestly been a theme of 2025, has been a profound hatred for AI, and we will get into that more when I talk about a book that I'm reading right now. Anyways, back to music. Yeah, Spotify is frustrating. Like, I find it hard to discover new music outside of Spotify, unfortunately. I think like for me too, when I'm not in the mood to like look for music, I just go to my save songs, and I've also started to collect CDs. You can kind of see a little collection over there, but I've been listening to them more, and I have some of them picked out that have kind of been staples for this year. The first one is going to be Jack Johnson, In Between Dreams. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, In Between Dreams. This was like one of my favorite albums in middle school, I think, and it was what made me want to learn how to play guitar really bad. Like, I was obsessed with Banana Pancakes. I mean, I still am trying to learn that song on heart right there, but we don't have to get into that. Anyways, that is a beautiful album for getting ready, and not even getting ready. I like a little bit more hype to get ready, but for like waking up, it's really good to just like throw on and like have in the background while I'm like going through my morning routine of like, you know, feeding the cats and I don't know, doing like washing my face. Anyways, next up, Baduism, Erica Badu. This is a classic, and I don't find myself listening to Erica Badu when I have like headphones on, or because she's such like a speaker artist. Like, I feel like I need to have her kind of blasting through my room or the apartment when she's on. You know, we got Rim Shots. What else do we have on here? Apple Tree, On and On. Honestly, Next Lifetime. Oh my god, that song. Next Lifetime. Maybe my favorite Erica Badu song after Plenty, yeah. Yes, this album is great for like, yeah, more so getting ready. I love to like burn incense while having this on and like kind of clean the house or do some other stuff, or honestly just like lounge around. It's a great lounge album. Next up, we've got Amy Mann's Bachelor Number 2, which I, I I hate to say I love a white woman and her music, but I love this white woman's music. She understands how to write a hook. She understands how to write a verse. Her lyrics are so incredible, and like they're just like they sink into you. Yeah, specifically cigarettes and red vines. What else do we have? Nothing is good. Like her hooks, nothing. The hook on Nothing Is Good Enough. So great. Honestly, like the first four, yeah, first four are not skips. We got How Am I Different, Nothing Is Good Enough, Red Vines, The Fall of the World's on Optimist, all bangers. This is an album I like to just like devote my attention to. I like to either have it on Spotify or I will just lie down and focus on listening to this album because the guitar riffs, just everything, it's like such a full sound. It sort of reminds me of Fun and their Aim and Ignite album, which is another one of my favorites from childhood too. But yeah, this is such a good album. If you haven't listened to Amy Mann, she's a white woman, but I do love her. I mean, Jack Johnson's a white man, so whatever. Next up, we got last little music bit is I always forget how to say his last name, but it's Angelo Badalamenti and his Twin Peaks soundtrack. I have the CD. I am lazy and I do not want to go get it right now. But that album is so, it just scratches my freaking brain. The jazz tunes, the bass lines in the album, oh my god, specifically, I believe it's Audrey's Dance or Audrey's Theme, and the one that comes on when Bobby's ever in a scene in Twin Peaks, if you've seen the show. They're just so, like, snappy, so the jazz is just beautiful. Yeah, so those are the CDs I've been listening to a lot. I think some contemporary stuff I've been listening to, I've been really loving, like, sort of, like, just, like, random rap every now and then. Key Glock, Doe. I love listening to that song when I'm, like, doing my face or anything in the bathroom. What is that song? There's a Zach Fox song as well, that I've been really enjoying. The last bit of music, I've been a little bit into Nirvana again, I'm not gonna lie. Specifically Bleach, and School, and just like the hard drums in that. Oh, it's just so good. Like, sometimes I'm just in a Nirvana mood and I just need something loud, and I find that Nevermind and Bleach, or I don't really freak with In Utero that much, but yeah. Next up, we're talking about movies, we're talking about TV, right? And speaking of Angelo Badalamenti, my partner had never seen Twin Peaks, and I was like, oh my gosh, how have you not seen this show? It's one of my favorite shows. And yeah, it was really fun, like, first watched, or like to see someone watch it for the first time. It's just such a, like, David Lynch, the people say this all the freaking time, but like, that man knows how to write about dreams. He knows how to build. I think the thing I love the most about Twin Peaks is how cozy it feels, right? Like, those first couple episodes where you're introduced to the town and like the shit, like just the police department, which fuck the police, but Twin Peaks police, I feel like, you know, if you've seen the show, you understand what I'm saying. Like, it's a very different small town feel, and I think that show is beautiful. Like, the scenes, the costume designs are gorgeous. My one critique is how it treats the people of color in that show. Specifically, Hawk's character is really just, it's so hard to watch. Like, the lines that he is given are just ridiculously stereotypical of like indigenous portrayals in media. So yeah, not a fan of that. I've never finished Twin Peaks, like the whole show. I've gotten through a lot of season 2, but I just like get lost in season 2. I don't know if other people have that experience, but like season 1 is so good, and then season 2 is like Tom McLaughlin, love that man, one of my favorite actors. And yesterday I just watched Blue Velvet again, which is like, I think one of the most uncomfortable, like I think Lynch really leans into this uncomfortable aspect of his filmmaking, right? It's like there's no scenes that feel sort of safe as a viewer, but also just like that don't make you kind of go like, just because of like the way sex is involved in the movie. And also I think there's like this constant theme of like what is pure and what is impure. And even in McLaughlin's, like I think the character's name is Jeffrey, the main protagonist, who investigates this random ear he finds on the ground, and it gets into a whole lot of trouble. His interactions are really awkward. He's kind of like this man-child when he's interacting with one of his love interests, Sandy, and he does the chicken dance, which I love that scene. But yeah, really great movie about like, and I think it kind of captures what the sort of disturbing aspects of Twin Peaks are, because Twin Peaks is a really scary show in my opinion. Like I remember watching that show and feeling really disturbed the first time, and I would have dreams of like the villains in Twin Peaks that were so surreal and very, not to be like that, but very Lynchian, like the slow sort of shaky camera movement, this like playing with nature and the motifs of the owl. Yeah, anyways, really good movie. I personally think it's like a 4.5 out of 5. Okay, on to other movies. I really enjoyed, I think my favorite movie of, or one of my favorite movies of this year is a movie called 24 Cities. I watched it because it has Joan Chen, who I love Joan Chen, and I literally was just like, I want to watch more things that feature her, where it's a little more of a like profound role that's not just Twin Peaks. The movie is directed by Jia Zhongke. It's this mockumentary. I don't even want to call it a mockumentary, honestly. It's more of like a fictional retelling of a factory that closes down in China, and the sort of way that that factory had a sort of hold on this community of workers. And so it's interviews with workers who have lived their whole lives in this city that's sort of built around this factory, and how the factory is now being replaced for these like luscious condominiums called 24 City. And the telling of these stories and these interviews, some of them are with just like actual workers, and some of them are like dramatized retellings. So Joan Chen has an interview. There's other famous Chinese actors who are in the movie that have interviews, and it's this beautiful portrayal of what it means to kind of give your life to something, but also to have your life controlled by something, and how much people's lives are impacted by this thing. Like it's in both positives and negatives, right? We see people who are on the older side who have really bad hearing loss, but have this sort of instilled sense of direction to support China in war efforts throughout the Cold War, post-World War II's, when the factory really started to pop off. And then as we get closer and closer to modern day, and I believe this was filmed in like 2000 or 2003, we see younger workers who start complaining about, you know, there's not much that the factory is able to do, and the work conditions are very, very unsafe. And you know, people, there's one story where someone loses their child because they have to catch a boat to get to the factory. And so it's just really sad, but also really interesting portrayal of what the industrialization does to a place. Next up, I don't have a lot to say about this one, but it is probably my favorite Wong Kar-wai movie now, is Chungking Express, which has Faye Wong. Shout out Faye Wong, we love her music. Also that Cranberries cover. Anyways, I have had a hard time like getting into some of Wong Kar-wai's more like, I feel like, beloved films, like especially In the Mood for Love and Happy Together. Like I think they're good, but I just didn't love them, to be honest. I actually started In the Mood for Love again today, and I plan on finishing that, and I think I'm warming up to it. I watched like the first 20 minutes and I'm like, oh, I see what I was missing. But Chungking Express is just so fun. It's just such a like fun, playful sort of story that I think is in heavy contrast to what Wong Kar-wai normally does in his movies that are more somber and have this sort of tone of like inevitability about missing out on love, right? But this one sort of embraces that and how like this sort of whimsical side of love shows up and how we like fall in love with people. And I really, really appreciated that in this movie. And it has a great soundtrack, and I love a movie with a great soundtrack. Yeah. Let's talk about a weirder movie, which is Wayward Cloud. This movie is it's directed by Simon Young, and it is this just like incredibly strange movie. I mean, like, how you even describe it is really difficult. There's a water shortage in Taiwan where the movie takes place, and the movie introduces like this watermelon motif where watermelon replaces water, and the government has a lot of propaganda saying how great watermelon is. The two main characters eating watermelon all the time, and what's important is they're both adult film actors, and it's just this really strange like whirlwind of how adult film is sort of intertwined with the resources around us, and also like about attention and sort of this false portrayal of what sex looks like, and it has some really difficult scenes to watch, to be honest, but also really, I think, like important like visual representations of the flaws of the adult film industry. Sprinkled in between that, there's like these grand musical scenes that are beautiful. Oh my god, I will insert hopefully an image of what they look like here, because my god, if you think like La La Land or Umbrellas of Cherbourg, I think that's what it's called, have good set designs, you need to watch this movie, because honestly the musical aspects of it are beautiful, and I really want to watch more movies by him, because it just sort of tickled my brain in a way that I find it difficult sometimes with movies. The last movie I want to talk about is The Aggressives, which is a documentary, and if you've seen Paris is Burning, I think you will like this movie. It is focused on folks who identify as trans masc, but really identify as sort of butch masc lesbians, before like trans masc is sort of cemented in like commonplace language, before trans masc is like an identity that a lot of people find themselves within. The film follows, I believe, 7 or 8 Black trans masc folks who are on a wide spectrum of gender identity, and then there's also one, I believe, Asian American who identifies in a similar manner, and it is a beautiful insight into what the culture of lesbianism and like stud dynamics look like in the 90s and early 2000s, before it becomes more socially acceptable to transition or to identify a certain way. And it is a really hard watch sometimes when you see folks really struggling to grapple with their gender identity, and just a beautiful portrayal of like the frustrations that come with being a lesbian of color, with being a stud, with being a butch, and how you do not fit into society, but you do everything in your power to do that. And there is a sequel to this movie that I want to watch. My one quarrel is, just like Paris is Burning, it's directed by some white guy, but still really beautiful movie, honestly. Okay, let's talk about books. I have a couple of books that I want to talk about. This is gonna be kind of a long video, but I think books and reading have been really important to me while I've recovered from surgery. It's something that has helped me when I was first coming out of surgery get through like long nights of insomnia. Was I was reading just like The Maze Runner, and yeah, I find myself looking to read more and more, which has been really fun, and so I want to go over what I'm reading right now. And yeah, this video is getting long. I feel my asthma coming. I'm gonna go take a puff. Oh my day. Okay, back. Okay, we're gonna first start off with this book, Small Beauty, which I'm currently reading. I'm like 40 pages into it. Yeah, look at how pretty this book is. Oh my gosh. Also shout out COP. the library system in Pittsburgh is so good, and I have been kind of devouring the library. Yeah, but this is by Jiaqing Wilson Young. Yeah, this is a sad book. Oh my goodness, 40 pages in. Woo! This book follows Mei, who is a Chinese American trans woman who just lost her cousin, Sandy, and lives in Canada. And it's about her navigating that grief and that loss as she is left with all of Sandy's belongings, including his dog, and is learning about Sandy's past and her aunt Bernadette's past, who is a lesbian that never came out to her family. And May is sort of grappling with this as she navigates loneliness post-transition. She, I believe, has only been out for a couple years, so yeah, this is, needless to say, a pretty difficult read, and I find myself being like, when I'm reading it, because she's saying a lot of like really profound things that I think only folks who have experienced transitioning, also transitioning later in life, can sort of attest to. And it's really beautiful. It's a pretty easy read, honestly, even though it is so sad. I think it's hard because it is sad, but yeah, it's short too. It's 141 pages ish, not too bad. Okay, the next book is gonna be what is this? Wounds of Passion. Yeah, A Writing Life by Bell Hooks. And this book has been okay. I think I am trying to find I'm trying not to write off Bell Hooks, because I've read, what is that one? All About Love, or the red book. I forget what the title is, I'm sorry, but I sometimes don't like her writing. I sometimes don't like how she conceptualizes concepts about love. They feel a little bit lukewarm, I think is the best word for me. And I think especially just like trying to incorporate like a sense of radical love in my life, I feel like sometimes she is a little bit filler and over dramatizing in her things that she's sharing. That being said, this is a very different book from All About Love, and it so far I'm like also 40 pages in, 30 pages in, but yeah, it bounces between first and third person as she kind of understands what makes her love writing and how her past trauma informs that. And yeah, I'm liking it more. I'm still like a little bit on edge. I think I need to read more of it, especially after I just finished reading the next book that I'll talk about, which is Asada. And I love this book about Asada Shakur. Really just like a fun, which is hard to say, but a really maybe I should say a really engaging read, as it bounces between Asada's life in prison and her just general biography from when she was a little girl to growing up and engaging in the Black Panther Party in New York first and also in Oakland. Really interesting read. I feel like I learned so much about her life, but also about the sort of inner workings of the Black Panther Party. It was really interesting to read that, and also the way that the judicial system and COINTELPRO targeted specifically her. Like, yes, the Black Panther Party, but oh my god, her treatment while she was in just the hospital and getting ready to be transferred to jail, and in Rikers, her time in solitary confinement, her just like frustrations with the world, and her strength to get through that. Really beautiful read. I love the way it's written too, bouncing between a more present retelling of her time in prison and her time as like starting as a child. And it really does start right after she gets involved with the police officer that she was charged with murder against, like in a absolute freaking kangaroo court of a trial. And it talks about not just that trial, but the trials she was acquitted for, which include multiple robberies that just like, yeah, no way it was happening. I'm forgetting the police officer's name. Honestly, fuck him. And I think another thing I really like about this is you see some of Asada's poetry as well that she ends and starts chapters with. So really good read if folks are looking for something to learn about just the Black Power movement. Really enjoyed this read. I recommend it to anyone, and it's not too hard of a read, I think, which has been nice as I jump into the next book. The next book I'm reading is Empire of AI, and this is by Karen Howell. And oh, guys, this book is dense, but it is really, really good. It is a investigative journalist's approach to OpenAI, the folks that made ChatGPT, and her uncovering it after following them for years and years, and sort of laying it all out there, right? It's about Sam Altman, Greg Brockman, Sutskever, who's like they're the two research guys, Elon Musk, and it is so engaging. Like, I cannot kind of put this book down. I think I'm like 100 pages into it now, and if you like The Social Network as a movie, I think you will really like this book. I also think just like if you're curious to learn about how AI got to be this like omnipresent, like nebulous thing that is just everywhere in our lives, this tells you about that origin and how it really was like 4 or 5 millionaires or billionaires trying to conquer this thing that was a make-believe fear that they all had about AGI, artificial general intelligence, which is something that is still being developed, and it's this telling of how they sort of morph their fears of AI into this desire to dominate the AI industry and to consume as much data, as much intel, as much power as they can. Really engaging read. I'm super excited to go further into this book. I believe Howell talks about the actual conditions of data centers across the world and how much of a drain it is on both the resources in an area, but also the drain on a community and how it impacts the people who work there. Yeah. Okay, that was a lot, but I think that's about it. I had a couple of like makeup products that I wanted to get into, but I don't think I have the energy for that. Maybe another video. I have a couple other video ideas that aren't just like, this is what I'm reading media type of things that I want to work on soon. And if you've watched this, thank you for watching. I finally freed up some data and I could record this on my phone, so if the quality isn't great, that is why. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye.